got 3 bodies in 2 months. Catch this serial killer before he does it again.
What's going on, everybody? It's Ted again with the Countdown to the Geeks, and I got another fantastic interview for you guys. Director of the upcoming thriller Crescent City, RJ Collins. How's it going, sir?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Tell us how you got involved with the film Crescent City.
Yeah. So the writer, Rich Ronett, and I kind of grew up in the business together in the last, I don't know, 10 plus years for sure. And we've done a lot of projects together, producing wise. I produced, a few of his scripts, and we developed like, gosh, I can't even tell you how many. But we were doing one of our films in Ukraine at the time in 2019, and he was telling me about all this research he had done on these serial killers, and it was so like fascinating and wrong, but you're like, you couldn't stop listening, right? So if I'm feeling that way already, I'm like, we've got to tell this story, right?
Yeah,
So it evolved, but he wrote the script, and it started evolving over time a little bit. But it really was a combination of a bunch of true events of serial killers and the things that they were doing, and places they would bring their victims, and the mannequin side of things, and it was so wrong, So we kind of dived into that. It was a little bit of True Detective influenced by this.
absolutely. Yeah.
Zodiac. There's a little homage to the '90s thrillers, the way that I grew up loving them. So yeah, that was kind of our influence on the story, and the twists and turns of not knowing who the killer is all the way to the end, and not knowing the gender of who it is, anything, right? So I think we established that early on, and just kept it twisting and turning all the way through. And I feel like the audiences will enjoy that and hook them to all the way to the end of the film, which is the goal these days with audiences. Can they watch it from the beginning to the end? And I think we
I
did that.
absolutely. I feel like it was a cat and mouse game, just like from start to finish, and it was so great. It was so captivating, and you have this incredible cast: Terrence Howard, Esai Morales, and Alec Baldwin. Talk to us about sort of what the environment is having three legends like that on the same set.
I'll tell you, it was freedom. I mean, it was great. We had such a great collaboration. I was a child actor, so maybe that helped me speak to actors better. I don't know, but we communicated very well from the beginning. We all trusted each other. I gave them their freedom because they're so good. I mean, you're just gonna watch almost like an audience member when you're directing them. You kind of watch them. We talk about what we want in the beginning. We do our blocking, and we let them just kind of do their thing, and it's phenomenal to watch. So let's put it this way: there wasn't a lot of tweaking of their performances. It was more of like talking about little things we wanted to do here and there and tweaking. But Terrence, Esai, even Nikki Whelan was phenomenal. Alec Baldwin, they really just brought it, and that's why. And I think, it's funny when you're on a movie set and you're working really long hours and you're trying to cram a movie into a very short schedule, and you're all tired, and you invite the cast out for dinner, and everybody shows up that night. Something's going right there, and that's what happened on this one.
Love hearing that. Love hearing that. Talk to us about what makes a great setting, tone wise, for a mystery thriller like this. You talked about, the thrillers of the 90s. I grew up watching a lot of these things. Along Came a Spider, all of
Yeah,
those great sort of
that's one of my favorite ones.
thrillers back in the day. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some of the components or the elements that like give you that grounded mystery thriller that you're looking for?
Yeah, it's like the grittiness. It's the sound design, the score. Even the lenses. Our DP Alex Salahi, we use the Hawk anamorphic lenses, and it's just the right capturing. It makes it feel raw, gritty, and just beautiful, and it kind of rounds out. Anamorphic just kind of rounds it out a little bit, which really kind of, I think, for the eye tricks you in more. But yeah, it's all of that. It's the setting, the location. That's why we use Little Rock. It just has that kind of gritty '90s older school vibe, the old school sheriff style, the town itself. It's phenomenal. It's just the vibe of it, even the wardrobe, everything, like every single piece of it. All of our HODs in this film really comprehended what we were trying to do. And I think that was why this film succeeded, because it was a collaboration from the heads of departments to the actors to the producers, all of us. We kind of really pushed it the right way, I think, and I feel like it worked.
Research for your top guys who are all either detectives, or Alec, who plays sort of like a chief for this department. Did
Yeah,
they
Captain
did you
Hal.
ask them to do any sort of research, or what did they do on their own to help prepare for this film? Do you know?
So uh, I talked it to Alec earlier on, and he asked me right away, like bluntly, like, "Hey, so how do you tell me the story of this movie you want to tell, and tell me what you want to see from my character?" So right away, that was it. I was like, "Okay." So then I answered those questions. He said, "Great." He's like, "You know why I liked?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "You didn't pause. You knew the answer right away, and you gave it to me." So it started like that with him. Terrence was he was traveling, but when we actually met before we started shooting and we talked, and we vibed on everything, and he had some ideas on his character notes, and that's how we collaborated and fixed things. And there was a little bit of the script kind of evolved while we were shooting, but it was the bones were there, and you just kind of give your actors the freedom. And then Esai came in. He was one of the last pieces of cast on the film and jumped in. And I picked him up at the airport when he arrived in Little Rock, and because I wanted to get some alone time with him, and we talked about his character and everything else. It was a great conversation. So that really helps. I think if you get the time to speak to your actors and kind of vibe a little bit and get to know each other and find out the little things that kind of make them tick,
Sure.
that's very important for me to understand at the beginning when I'm working with my actors.
There are some sequences and some scenes, I'm not going to say when or what they're involved with, but some fight scenes or some action sequences between some of your leads. Did you have to coach them into being a part of that, or were they already like kind of gung ho and wanted to do that themselves? Or talk to us
Yeah,
about
yeah.
getting them involved in those sort of action sequences.
Phenomenal stunt coordinator Lauren Shaw. She rocked it. Yeah, the actors, one of them had just kind of come off a very big action film. So he was very primed and ready, and he
Sure.
loved it. He was a beast. He wouldn't stop. The other actor has been doing this for so long as well, and he was ready to go. A little under the weather that day, but he toughed it out, and it was great. So it was a phenomenal fighting sequence. It took us half day to shoot that sequence, but it
Wow.
turned out really well, and it was just well designed, and it was to be honest, it's one of the best. I like very practical and real, and so I feel like we really got that out on this one.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Yeah, great effort on all your leads, including Nikki, who was also fantastic in this film. Crescent City, here's your opportunity right now. Why should fans check out Crescent City when it drops?
Because the movie takes you on a whirlwind spin of who's the killer, and it's just a fantastic ride. And I want you to try to figure out who the killer is all the way through and guess before you find out in the end.
I love it. That's enough for me. Crescent City is going to be in select theaters on August 16th, as well as on digital on demand. RJ, thank you so much for taking time to speak with me, man.
All right, thanks so much.